They're not allowed to ask whether or not somebody's a citizen of the United States. How horrible and ridiculous is that? So we are looking at that, yeah, sure.
Do you know
because
if you have
it wasn't a real decision that, boom, this is the way it is.
Lawyers for the Justice Department furiously backtracked today, saying they're once again looking into whether the Trump administration can add a citizenship status question to the census. The stunning reversal came after the president this morning blasted reports that the Commerce Department abandoned its efforts to add the question as fake. The president's words, by the way, calling it fake, directly contradicting his own Commerce Secretary Wilbur Ross, who announced Tuesday he had given up his quest to insert the citizenship question. In a heated call today, U.S. District Judge George Hazel set a Friday deadline on the citizenship question and told the Justice Department attorney, quote, "If you were Facebook and an attorney for Facebook told me one thing, and then I read a press release from Mark Zuckerberg telling me something else, I would be demanding that Mark Zuckerberg appear in court with you the next time because I would be saying I don't think you speak for your client anymore." Back tonight, Neil Katyal, a veteran of the Justice Department, a former acting Solicitor General during the Obama administration who has argued 39 cases before the U.S. Supreme Court. Neil, I don't even know what question to ask you to start with. Let's start with this. The president sent out a tweet today calling something fake news that was actually confirmed by his Department of Commerce after a Supreme Court ruling that said unless you come back to us with a better reason for putting a citizenship question on the census, you can't do it. So let's just start with the premise that the president in his tweet this morning was lying.
So I think, Ali, it's not just the Department of Commerce. It's also the Justice Department lawyers who went into court yesterday and said, we're not going to be seeking the citizenship question. We're printing the census forms without it. And Ali, I never thought I'd see the day when the Trump administration's top lawyers sound like Drunk Girl on Saturday Night Live. We're going to have a citizenship question. We're not going to have a citizenship question. We are. It's thoroughly inconsistent. And that's why, when the Supreme Court ruled last week and said President Trump's addition of the census question was illegal because they used a reason that was utterly pretextual, why that should have been the end of it. And now they're coming back with all this sort of stuff, but it's not going to work. And it's not going to work for a really simple reason, Ali. The Solicitor General, the government's top lawyer, has told the Supreme Court not once or twice, but 5 different times that June 30th is the deadline for the printing of the census forms. They started that on January 25th when they told the Supreme Court, hey, this district court, this trial judge has ruled against us on the census. We want to skip the Court of Appeals and go straight to the Supreme Court. Why, they said? Because of this June 30th deadline.
And the Supreme
Even
Court
last
obliged.
Week on Tuesday.
The Supreme Court obliged. They gave them a decision by June 30th.
Exactly.
So here's my question.
They agreed to hear the case. There was oral argument. Yeah.
I thought this judge with his Mark Zuckerberg comment was interesting. It's like you're telling me one thing. You told the Supreme Court something. They listened to you. Doesn't seem like you and your boss are on the same page. What does that actually mean? Is somebody going to actually call Donald Trump to court and say, what's up with you?
Well, I suspect that the lawyers are going to try and iron out whatever happened. One lawyer this morning from the Justice Department said, the first I'm hearing of it are these tweets that I'm reading off of Twitter. And I don't know what's going on. And so clearly the Justice Department's kind of out of the loop and the Commerce Department's out of the loop and the president's, off on his own quixotic campaign. But I suspect what's going to happen at the end, Ali, is that the Justice Department lawyers are going to reassert themselves and say, look, this is what we told the Supreme Court about June 30th. We said it even last week on Tuesday in a filing on June 25th. And yeah, 2 days later, the Supreme Court ruled against us. But boy, it will destroy our credibility with the federal judiciary if we go back on our word now. When I sat in that chair, the government's top lawyer for litigation, the thing I was most concerned about was protecting the credibility that prior generations of government servants had built up with the federal federal courts. And right now, President Trump is threatening to torch whatever credibility the Justice Department has left because of what he's doing. And that will be a huge, huge error for the country and for him.
So let me ask you something. The Justice Department lawyers either pull back on this or they go back to the court and try to get this done. But there's no chance that someone in the government is going to try and get that citizenship question on the census extrajudicially, right? Going around the courts, doing something, because I feel like that would be illegal.
Well, nothing that this administration does at this point surprises me. And we've even had a member of Congress, a sitting member of Congress, say, yeah, go ahead, defy the federal courts, President Trump, and do the right thing, add the citizenship question. I mean, this administration's relationship to the rule of law is so tenuous. And I am worried about it. And I think all Americans should be, because the crown jewel of our American democracy is our federal judiciary. And last week, they stood up for the rights of all Americans to be counted and to say, President Trump, you gave us a reason that was utterly pretextual, and this question can't be added. And that decision has to stand as the law of the land.
Hey there, I'm Chris Hayes from MSNBC. Thanks for watching MSNBC on YouTube. If you want to keep up to date with the videos we're putting out, you can click subscribe just below me, or click over on this list to see lots of other great videos.